Hello everybody, welcome to Little Rusty Bucket. Subscribe to the channel, drop a like on this video, trying to hit 50k subs, so that subscription would be much appreciated. And if you are watching this on your phone, I'd appreciate if you hyped the video, as that is the best way to make it do better in the YouTube algorithm. The Memphis Grizzlies have been a disaster this season for quite a few reasons, but most of it revolving around their head coach and their two stars. A lot of it primarily Ja Morant, but when you actually look at both the numbers or just the eye test watching the Grizzlies so far this year, it also appears quite a bit like Jaren Jackson Jr. is also pretty tapped out and unengaged and unwilling to buy into what is currently going on there. I think that's kind of been an understated story just because Ja Morant was so loud about the whole thing by like literally making comments to the media. Jaren is professional enough to not do that, but in terms of actual on-the-floor body language and just general vibes, he does seem off as well. Rudy has blamed all of this on the head coach. I can't say that I think it's all entirely on the head coach. I do think ultimately, even if your even as a star player in the NBA making $40 million, even if you don't like the system that your coach is implementing, you still need to try. You still need to try your best to buy in, and that's just not been happening. But luckily, the Grizzlies seem to have a savior. First of all, it was Cedric Coward, who's been one of the best rookies in the NBA thus far, because the Grizzlies, for all their shortcomings in the last couple of years, are pretty damn great at drafting. But their most controversial draft pick by far in recent years was when they took Zach Edey with, I believe it was the 9th pick in the draft. Yeah, 9th pick in the draft. And he was the best college player in the world based on my understanding at Purdue. But there were a lot of reasons that people were concerned about him playing at an NBA level. Which, just from me, I say this all the time because it's important to highlight where I know where my weaknesses are. I don't watch college basketball much. I did catch the last game where he played against Donovan Clingan, who was drafted ahead of him, and I kind of understood why Clingan was viewed as the higher prospect, just because he was more mobile, he was a little bit more versatile. But I don't know where this idea came from that Zach Edey was like the slowest fucking guy in all of college, like he was just wearing some cement shoes. The guy moves his feet relatively quick for being the heaviest player in the NBA at 305 pounds. I would go as far as to say that Zach Edey is like slightly more physically imposing than Victor Wembanyama is, because Wemby has like an inch to 3 inches on him, depending on what you think his actual height is. But Zach Edey has like over 40 pounds on him. Like he is 7'4", but he's not skinny. Like he's not really that jacked for being 7'4" either, but like 305 pounds is about right to fill out a 7'4" frame. And he just is giant out there. And he was good at the start of this season when he was back. He was just out until Memphis's 14th game. His first couple of games are okay, nothing crazy. However, we go to Basketball Reference here, and we look at his 4 most recent games. He has a 5-point game versus the Sacramento Kings in there, but he's averaging 19 points, 16.5 rebounds, which is crazy, and 2.8 blocks, shooting 70% from the field. And what is even more surprising, he's doing this in 31 minutes, which is not a crazy amount. You don't really see guys averaging like 36 out here anymore in the NBA, but it does still happen. But like, look at the rebounding numbers here. 15, 19, 17, 15. He has another 15 rebound game in here versus Dallas. Like he has just been so fucking good. He's shooting 67% from the field overall this year, averaging 14 points, 11.5 rebounds, and 2 blocks in 26 minutes per game. And the thing with Edey, to me, the most undervalued skill in the NBA at this point, something that I think has been a really big revolution in basketball that has gone understated, is having a big man with really good touch. Zach Edey has incredible touch for being the giant that he is. Like, to me, the reason that Jokic is as good as he is, the first thing that I would highlight as why Jokic is as good as he is his floater range shot. He is just so money from that spot on the floor. And Edey in his rookie year not great numbers in that department. But this year, from 3 to 10 feet, he is shooting 67.5%. That is elite efficiency, and he's taking 43% of his shots from there. He's also shooting 71% at the basket. So, like, yeah, this explains the incredible efficiency. He's just not really attempting shots from any other range besides for there. And, like, when you look at him on the floor, dude, he's just so much bigger than everybody else. So I want to watch this game against the watch his highlights from this game against the Sacramento Kings, where he had 32 points, 17 rebounds, and 5 blocks on 16 for 20 shooting in 29 minutes. I also watched him play against the New Orleans Pelicans. That game was awesome, went into overtime. Yeah, let's look at Zach Edey versus the Kings. On the baseline against Drew Eubanks, I think you could argue he maybe traveled right there. I think he probably did, but still able to just wrap that around the rim so easily. Put back layup right there off of the Jaren miss. Gonna block Russell Westbrook here at the rim. Barely left his feet to do it. But this hook shot in the lane, what do you do about that? Look at the contest there. Look at where Drew Eubanks' hand is. Right there. The ball is here. His hand is nearly parallel with the rim. It's not that far off. His release point on this hook shot is like 9.5 feet in the air. So, like, Eubanks has to jump really high to get any kind of contest on that. And Drew Eubanks is like an average size center. I believe he's about 6'10". And this just looks free. It's easy as fuck for him to hit that shot. Like, there's just zero contest. Jaren with a really nice pass inside, and Edey keeps his balance, puts it right back up. Vince Williams Jr.? Yeah, okay. He had a crazy play the other day where everyone was thinking that he was fucking betting on the game. But yeah, he throws the lob to Edey. Easy stuff, barely has to jump, and you know, he can't really jump that high, so that's fine. But he goes up quickly. Like, he's not wasting movement here. He gets it, he immediately goes for it, uses his body to protect from any kind of block, uses the left hand well. Here goes Zach LaVine down the middle of the lane, and Edey's gonna block that. Post position on their rookie big, I can't remember what his name is, but once again with the left hand, like, has no issue finishing with both hands. Look at this. Look at it. Look at this shit right here. Look at his hand. Look at the rim. Drew Eubanks is staring. He doesn't even get a jump contest on this shot. So, like, this is basically a practice look for Zach Edey. He just goes up quickly with the feathery touch, and it drops. Doesn't really set the screen all that well there, but it kind of, you know, that happens a lot more in the NBA these days. Lots of ghost screens. Another post up, another hook shot. That's like the closest anyone got to it, I think. Like, that's not too big of a distance, but it is still really not all that contested. Cedric Coward drives, reverse layup, no good. Look at Precious. Precious is under like, he doesn't even seem like he's there. It's crazy. Vince Williams Jr. passes it. Easy bucket right there. Just like, it's the reason why I think this floater range shot for big men is just so goddamn valuable is it's one of the most uncontestable shots in the game. Blocks Keegan Murray right there. Like, even the closest contest that has been seen thus far on one of those hook shots in this game, his defender's hand was still like a foot away from the basketball. Lob from Vince Williams again. Really good stuff. Screen. Coward finds him right at the basket. Really nice that he got rid of that ball there right as he was losing his balance. And he can block the big taking the floater on the other end. This is normally a good look, but not with a behemoth at the rim. Yeah, he's just been awesome. He's been very enjoyable to watch because, like, I love just seeing a complete physical anomaly dominate these incredibly gigantic players normally, but they're not 7'4", 305 pounds. So yeah, Zach Edey, I know I'm not a draft guy, but when I saw him in that game against the NCAA championship game, I was like, I don't get why I'm seeing this guy outside of the lottery on the boards, other than he's a multi-year college player and he has a more traditional big man game. But like, hot take, rebounding is still important. Scoring around the rim is still important. Blocking shots is still important. Having the touch around the basket that he does is very important. So like, if he's not gonna necessarily do a great job switched on to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I don't think that means you should take Donovan Clingan over him, who has been relatively disappointing this year. Yeah, he keeps shooting threes. He's shooting 24%, taking 3 threes per game. So that's like, yeah, man, I don't know if you should be doing that. 10 rebounds, 1.5 blocks, 10 points in 25 minutes. Like, that's still good. Like, I'm not trying to suggest Donovan Clingan's not good. He's still a pretty damn solid player. But like, I just didn't really get it, other than literally he's younger. That's basically the only reason. Yeah, I'm a little sad, frankly, because when I saw that they drafted Zach Edey, my initial thought was like, if that works, it's going to be really fun. Like, that team with Zach Edey, if they're healthy, obviously Desmond Bane was in the equation at the time, but the thought for me was like, Ja, Bane, whoever at small forward, Jaren, and Edey is such a great lineup. And like, Edey's rebounding, he's one of the best rebounders in the NBA. Like, at this point, I think it's hard to deny that. And for that to be the case, given how much of a weakness that is for Jaren Jackson Jr., it's huge. It's absolutely a massive thing for him and a massive thing for this team in general. So like, if they could just figure it the fuck out, that would be nice. They've been winning games more recently. They beat the Kings, they beat the Clippers, they beat the Pelicans. Obviously not the best teams out of that bunch. And then they lost to Denver and they lost to San Antonio without Wemby. So obviously things are still not looking that great. But there is at least some silver lining to this season for the Memphis Grizzlies, and that is Zach Edey as well as Cedric Coward. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.